Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking sports locally and nationally. Join the conversation on our social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it simple.
Welcome back for another edition of the ODPH podcast, better known as the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken. Joining me in studio, as always, you know him. He is the co-host. His name is Padawan J.
Hello, hello, hello.
And also joining us in studio, he is your coach. He is my coach. He is the coach. Coach Duffy.
I feel a lot better than any Ohio State fan right now.
Yeah, that's a little crazy and heartbreaking. The news breaking that Ohio State and Michigan is off this week.
Yep.
But fear not, we have more sports stories to break down, so we'll get into that and so much more on this edition of the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. So join in the conversation on social media. You can find all our accounts at OchoDuroParlayHour.com. Join in on Facebook. Join in on Twitter. Join in on Instagram. Join in on Podchaser. Drop a 5-star review, and always remember to use the hashtag ODPH. So if we're talking sports, we definitely got to kick off with our NFL recap of our locks and leaps picks. So, Pad, take it away.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with my lock. I chose the Kansas City Chiefs to defeat the Denver Broncos, and they narrowly did. This was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Kansas City won by the final score of 22-16. Patrick Mahomes, 25 of 40 for 318 yards passing, just one touchdown this week. Drew Lock, on the other hand, 15 of 28 for 151 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Coach, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this game just didn't make a lot of sense from the standpoint of, Kansas City comes off of this great performance against Tampa Bay the week before, where they just absolutely, dominated until Tampa Bay scored some late, touchdowns that unfortunately backdoor covered for people that had taken the Chiefs in the over. But it's a division game, so like you always say, Ken, they're gonna play each other tough, and they're gonna have a hard time. It's just to see the Kansas City offense that was the week before just on fire. Tyreek Hill alone, to abruptly see them in this game just almost come at a standstill. It's pretty interesting. That's got to make Vic Fangio feel a lot better about his defense, knowing the fact that they can limit Kansas City's offense that way.
Yeah, Pat?
Yeah, no, definitely a good building moment for the Denver Broncos. Obviously, I took this game from not figuring Drew Lock wasn't going to be playing in this game. That I believe Shermer's kid had been signed by them, so I figured he'd be playing quarterback. But still, good game for Denver. Melvin Gordon, season-high rushing yards, 15 carries for 131 yards rushing, no touchdowns. So, good game for Denver. It's a loss, but it's not a bad loss per se because, hey, let's face it. You look at what Kansas City did the week prior against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you held them in check, so to speak, up until the second half when Kansas City got 10 points in the third quarter. But, on the flip side for Kansas City, it's a good building game. It's not your best performance of all time, but, you need these games to show, hey, we're not just going to steamroll everybody every week and have, 500 yards in the first quarter.
It's something that Kansas City knew they were going to have to expect because, as I say and Coach touched upon too,
right.
Anytime it's division, your rivals will step up to try facing you. It's just the whole having pride in your team and wanting to be the best you can and having bragging rights. It's sports 101.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So you knew that Denver, even though they have not had the greatest of seasons, will definitely not want to sit there and get steamrolled by Patrick Mahomes and company. And on the flip side, I'm not saying this was a trap game for Mahomes and company, but I bet you they probably went in there thinking we're just going to absolutely annihilate them. And maybe did not give 100%. I'm not saying they faked it, but it's just you sometimes see those games on the schedule and think, okay, this is going to be an easy one until you get punched in the mouth. This seemed like that type of game to me. That for Denver, you got some building blocks to work off of. Is it going to be something you're going to be able to fix overnight? No.
Probably not.
No, but for the Chiefs, they have definitely done everything they can do.
Yeah.
They're sitting pretty now in the AFC divisional race because now it's to get the number 1 seed locked up.
Yeah.
And they are definitely in the driver's seat, in my opinion, for that. I think their competition is going to have a little tougher schedule. So Kansas City just needs to get that home field advantage locked up, and then I think then they can finally take the foot off the brake.
Yep.
So that being said,
yeah, switch over to my leap. I chose the Houston Texans to defeat the Indianapolis Colts, and I was wrong on that. Indianapolis won by the final score of 26-20. Phillip Rivers, 27 of 35 for 285 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Deshaun Watson, 26 of 38 for 341 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Coach, your thoughts?
I mean, heartbreaking loss.
Yeah.
How tough is that? I mean, Deshaun Watson, obviously playing at a pretty high caliber, to lose Will Fuller the week before, and obviously no Hopkins. David Johnson didn't play in this game either, so you're literally down to your third and fourth string wide receivers from what you had the year before.
Yeah.
I mean, they cut a guy right before. It wasn't Stills, right? But they cut somebody. It was the second wide receiver, not Stills. But they cut somebody right before this game, and then Kevin Cote steps up. Now your number one wide receiver, who was your fourth. So you're playing with a ragtag group, and then to be competitive in this game up until a bad snap, that's tough.
Well, yeah, no, definitely. And I did like that moment on the sidelines where T.Y. Hilton went over and kind of consoled Deshaun Watson, who was very distraught and very upset over the loss. That was a cool moment between the two. But definitely, should have seen it coming. Should have thought with my head a little bit. Especially with Houston being a little hurt, and good win for Indianapolis. Especially with that AFC South that's just so contentious and nobody wants to take the reins on it. It's hard to figure out.
It's a weird team to figure out, that being in Indianapolis. Some weeks they look amazing and Super Bowl contenders, and some they just look like they don't even know what they're doing on the field.
Yeah.
Inconsistency is going to haunt them, and this game should have definitely gone Houston's way. Houston, though, is a directionless team that I think they're going to need some time in this offseason to really find their way again and see what they want to do moving forward.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, you fire your head coach. You've got the interim tag on Romeo Crennel. You got to think that he's not the guy.
No.
It doesn't feel that way. I mean, obviously, he's up there in age. You have a young team, so you got to kind of figure out what you want to do there. You've invested in Deshaun Watson to be the franchise quarterback. You have, J.J. Watt on the other side of the ball. That you got to kind of figure out what you're going to do with that corner piece of your franchise, because Father Time's obviously catching up there. He has stated that he doesn't want to go through a rebuild and would like to play for a contender at some point. So that's something that you got to think of this offseason. So, yeah, it's going to be a big state of flex. You fired your head coach and general manager.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to start from scratch. So.
And they're going to definitely need to take the time to do it, because now they're sitting there looking up at the two top teams in that AFC South. Jacksonville is a mess in its own right, so I don't even consider them in the conversation currently. But for Tennessee and Indianapolis, that's the cream of the crop right now. And for Indianapolis, this was a big win and a much-needed win to stay in that conversation for playoffs. That is not an easy road for them to lock in a wild card or that AFC South. I think that they're going to be a team that if they get in there, they could make some noise, but then again, it comes down to the inconsistency of play. Can they make a stretch run where they're bending but not breaking?
Right.
Ultimately, I think they'll find their way. I think they'll just be one of those sneaky teams that get in there, especially with that extra playoff team. So anything is possible with that, and for Houston, it's heartbreaking, but this whole season has just been a mess. So I'm sure they're happy to get to Week 17.
The Colts got to figure out something here, because at 8-4, this is a big win. You're up against it right now because your division is red hot. You got two really good teams inside your division. You're chasing a wild card spot, so they got to figure out something sooner than later.
Yeah,
absolutely. So that being said, Coach, we are going to your locks and leaps, and you went with the one that I think everybody thought was going to be easy money.
Yeah.
I really thought that Vegas was going to come in, do what they were going to do to the Jets.
Sure.
Thought it would have been a landslide, but yet what did we get, Pad?
We got a hell of a game that for a minute there, it looked like the Jets were going to win the game, but they did not. Vegas won by the final score of 31-28, not pulling ahead until, a last minute second Hail Mary, with 5 seconds left, to win, like I said, 31-28. Derek Carr, 28 of 47 for 381 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Sam Darnold, 14 of 23 for 186 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Coach, so during the last play of the game, have you ever in your coaching experience called a full all-out blitz?
Well, I mean, like at this point, so it's funny because I mean, on the flip side of it, it's a kind of a tale of two games here because, like, I watched the Giants afterwards, and I can just go based off that Cincinnati game too, where in previous experience where you're watching guys do the prevent defense, and it's like you have to find this fine line of do I have enough in pass coverage, and am I pressuring the quarterback enough? Because you've seen times where defenses will the quote unquote prevent defense, they'll drop 8 back, only rush 3, give the quarterback time and space, and all of a sudden, they dink and dime their way down a field and win a game, Then on the flip side of it, we've seen this in the past where Greg Williams, when he was in New Orleans, in the NFC divisional round against the 49ers, call, a zero blitz, send everybody after playing 2 plays of prevent defense, and then lose that game in New Orleans. So it's like, and I mean, from the Giants standpoint, last week against Cincinnati, you watch the Giants kind of, sit back on their heels, and let Cincinnati slowly, get their way back into it, and still eventually that strip sacks that they were able to recover the fumble. So, I mean, would I have called it? No, but like when I, am playing like Madden or something, like, do I try to pressure the quarterback when it's in a passing situation? Absolutely. Yeah. And if you don't have, an elite pass rushing team, or you don't feel like you can get to the quarterback by rushing 4, 5, send 6, but you can't, in a game situation like that with, under what it was like under 25 seconds.
It was 12 seconds.
Yeah, with under 15 seconds left to go, you can't
and if I'm not mistaken, no timeouts.
Yeah, no timeout. Yeah, I knew they had no timeouts, but you can't not have a safety over the top.
Yeah,
that is literally just the most. I understand the rolling of the dice and trying to pressure and blitz the quarterback, but to have no safety over the top with 12 seconds left and no timeout, I mean, had that ball been caught in him, or had if maybe they ran a different play because the safety was over the top and he gets tackled at the 4-yard line, this game's done. Mm-hmm. And instead, it was a beautifully thrown ball by Derek Carr. The blitz didn't even get there, and touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just a terrible play call from Greg Williams, the now former defensive coordinator with the New York Jets. Terrible play call just because, they've been getting torched in the receiving game all game long. Darren Waller, what is that? Waller? Yeah, Waller, absolutely burned the shit out of him. 13 catches for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaged 15.4 yards per catch. Just absolutely torturing the shit out of it. And I get that, Greg Williams, might like to call more blitzes than is normal. That might be kind of one of his go-to moves maybe. But that might have worked when you were with New Orleans. But the New Orleans defenses you had then and the New York Jets defense you had, night and goddamn day. You were getting torched the entire game. So for you to call a total blitz on the last play of the game, when I'm sitting there watching, because, I was out watching the games, and this was one of the games on the TV, I'm sitting there going, all right, rush 2 or 3, drop everybody. Because you knew what was coming. 12 seconds left. Unless they go to the sides, you knew they were going deep, and they went blitz. I was like, okay, interesting choice. And then, the guy who caught the game-winning touchdown, former track star, he got burned on that aspect.
Their play calling during that last whole series was just a little different for my liking.
Mm-hmm.
I know that everybody was saying that the whole tank for Trevor movement was in effect for this, and maybe not.
I mean, the fans were cheering. I saw a video of Jets fans cheering that they lost.
Oh, yeah. Well, at this stage, your team cannot go anywhere but up, and Trevor Lawrence can turn a franchise around. He's that good of a prospect that, barring any colossal collapse, he's going to be a Pro Bowl quarterback for years to come, no matter what team he winds up on.
Sure.
But for the Jets, this was a game that you should have snuck out. You should have held on to. The fact that you were still in this game and it had the lead going late.
Oh, yeah.
When Derek Carr threw for almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns on you.
Yep.
The fact that you're still in this game, you need to close. And why Adam Gase did not follow Greg Williams out the door, it would be on me. Like, if he is still employed after the last Monday of the regular season, something's wrong.
We'll say, there's something going on just because the play's been abysmal. There's nothing going on. Now I realize, it's nothing to write home about. Their leading rusher, Frank Gore, went down on like the second play of the game. So, their leading rusher was Ty Johnson, 22 carries, 104 yards. But, there's just been nothing going on, and it doesn't even look like he's attempting to get a spark and get him to play.
Yeah. They've mailed it in on him completely, and you can tell.
Well, I mean, this is embarrassing on both standpoints because, I mean, to let your head, your defensive coordinator, who, I mean, I get, Gase is quote unquote the offensive guru, but obviously to have this much contention between you and your defensive coordinator where, you're in the media and it's New York. So the media, obviously the noise is louder, but to have this much contention in the room and disrespect and jabs back and forth. It's like, on the flip side of it, you see the Giants and Joe Judge and, the fallout that he had with Mark Colombo, which we really didn't touch on in the show. But I mean, you had your offensive line coach, who had a disagreement with the head coach.
Sure.
And, what'd the head coach do?
Yeah,
you're gone. I mean, and this is a guy that Jason Garrett had worked on in Dallas with for over, 5+ years. There was a rapport there, and Joe Judge, no, none of this. You're not on my watch, So it just goes to show, that obviously Gase doesn't have a temperature in the room. I mean, even you look at head coaching positions where there's been turmoil underneath in coordinator positions, and head coaches just kind of let it go by, and those head coaches don't have jobs now.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is just a testament of, to me. Did Greg Williams deserve to get fired? Absolutely. Is that an egregious call with 12 seconds left to go and up late in the game? Yeah. I mean, does it certainly look like a tank? Yeah. Should the NFL investigate? I mean, you might want to, because that's pretty embarrassing of a look on your league. I mean, when you crunch the numbers and you look and you analyze and you break things down as much as the NFL is, and you hear the fact that next gen stats say, that this play has never been called in this type of situation other than one time before, with Greg Williams in New Orleans.
Right.
It just goes to show that obviously there might be a track record there of him willing to do this type of stuff to sabotage himself and the team that he's on. So, I don't know. But to me, again, the Jets are a mess. I can't believe, that Gase still has a position as a head coach.
Yeah,
I mean, this is no leader of men. And then I don't know if you guys saw too. Boomer was on his radio show.
I saw the text you sent.
Yeah, I sent it. Yeah, so Boomer was talking about Bill Cowher has been, in the studio, CBS, allegedly kind of hinting at, taking over the Jets job, that he would be interested if they came calling. His wife's a Jets fan. Obviously he's already said that he's fond of New York. So it's like, that'd be pretty interesting.
Pad, what's your take on that? Because I got a good rant for this one.
No, you go ahead.
All right. I understand he's still a name, but how long has he been out of the game?
At least a decade, if not more.
It's been, so we were talking about this at my office. It's since 2005.
Right.
So 15 years.
So 15 years since you've been in the grind of being an NFL head coach. It's one thing to sit there and commentate on Sundays and analyze games. He is great at it. Don't get me wrong. But we have seen this happen in the past where coaches have left the booth to come back after an extended amount of time.
And not even just the booth, just, from other positions. You look at Joe Gibbs.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going to go with. You look at when Joe Gibbs came back to try saving the Redskins franchise, and look how that failed out. And then you take a look at now Gruden, and how long has it taken for him to get back his groove?
I mean, I guess it's an interesting thing because Cowher, that year that he retired, they still went 8-8. I feel like he still had a good temperature for the room. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was difficult with the Tom Coughlin situation with the Giants because you can just tell he lost touch. So, maybe has Cowher kind of eased his, from the chin, persona?
Right.
Will he be able to, especially if he comes in and, all the things play out the way that Jets fans want, and, all of a sudden Trevor Lawrence comes in, is that, something that a situation where, he wants a young quarterback to be on the team, I mean, so... I would have my doubts. I know I certainly, if I'm a Jets fan, don't want, the name that's probably going to be associated to a lot of teams, which is going to be Harbaugh out of Michigan. That I don't want.
Yeah, but nobody should want him right now.
Yeah.
But you don't know what's going to happen in that coaching carousel. I mean, that's the one thing. I keep on screaming, if the Jets were smart, they'd go get Ben-Ami out of Kansas City. and get him to work with him, because you saw what he could do with Patrick Mahomes. You need to get something to spark your offense, albeit though he'd have to a lot of work on his defensive end too. Mm-hmm. But to get Cowher out of the booth and have him come back, it would be a great Cinderella story. But at the same time,
it'd take a goddamn miracle to get that team anything, because there's no, like we said before, we've said multiple times, Trevor Lawrence can declare for the NFL this year. There's no guarantee that he will, and even if he does, he could pull an Eli Manning and go, yeah, fuck that, I'm not going to the Jets.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many variables that go on there that I don't know with the Jets what the right or wrong answer is. I really don't.
No, the right answer is fire Adam Gase.
Well, that one is the given. That's your lock. Your leap is you're going to get Cowher. But even at this stage, can he really turn that franchise around?
Can he turn it around if he's given the right amount of time?
Well, that's the thing. But how long are you going to give him?
Yeah, you got to give him a while.
And is he going to just get back in the swing of things and then maybe say, you know what, I'm not going to renew my contract, I'm out? I mean, you don't know the culture of the team that you're going to walk into.
Well, no, I mean, you also don't know. I mean, they fired their general manager mid-year too, so I mean, that's a whole thing too. So it's a whole, I mean, when it's just such a dynamic when you fire your general manager and your head coach, you are literally breaking your franchise down to the proverbial, foundation.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, do you bring your head coach in to then, have your general manager work after? Because, I mean, it's just like Bill Parcells used to say when he was with the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. He wants to do the grocery shopping and do the cooking. Yeah. And he couldn't do that in Dallas because you had Jerry Jones, as the owner / general manager, who was doing the shopping and forcing Bill Parcells to do the cooking. So it's like, do you bring your general manager in first, then find your head coach? Because will Cowher want that? I mean, are you going to find somebody that he's willing to work with, considering he's been out of the league for the last 15 years? Or do you, go and get a general manager who, might have a relationship with the coaching staff? The hot name right now is the guy out of New England, the assistant general manager right now. I don't know his name, but he's very hot right now. I know when the Giants were talking about firing Gettleman, that he was the name that was going to be tagged to that because of obviously his relationship with Joe Judge. So, will that be something that the Jets will want to do, try and purge away from the New England franchise? Possibly. But again, it just comes with, what are you looking to do? Are you trying to get a head coach in place first or a general manager? And that's the same thing for previous with Houston.
Yeah.
What are you looking to do first? Are you trying to get your franchise and your pieces together, or are you trying to get a head coach and then work your way around that?
It's a tough line to walk. So for the Jets, who knows? I mean, that's the scary thing about it, that there is no light at the end of the tunnel right now. Should they go out and get a GM first? In my opinion, they should. I think they should.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the way that it works best is unless you are bringing in the guy to do both.
Yeah.
Then you got to get a general manager first and then let him find the head coach.
Yeah, you're going to have to do that first. John Dorsey, I would think, too, formerly from Cleveland. I don't know where he's at right now, but
I mean, he's not. He doesn't have a job right now
Right,
because he was. Yeah, but I mean, look. Yeah, did he do a good job in Cleveland? Sure, but I mean, is he the right fit? I don't know because those Cleveland teams weren't great under him.
No, but then again, it was also coaching too, though.
Sure.
So I mean, you got to have the 1-2 combo. But like I said, he did wonders in Kansas City, making that into a monster. He's got Cleveland looking respectable. I think he'd be a good fit for the GM position in New York. But we'll have to wait and see. But for them, the Jets' offseason is getting closer. The Raiders are looking playoffs. But still, we have to talk about another team out west that is the Los Angeles Rams. Now, Coach, this was your leap and my leap, but we took Arizona. Mm-hmm. But the Rams decided to say, not today. Pad?
Yeah, the Rams won by the final score of 38-28. Jared Goff, 37-47 for 351 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Kyler Murray, 21 of 39 for 173 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Your thoughts?
This is a young Cardinal team that is still learning how to win. And not to say that Cliff Kingsbury is not doing a decent job at head coaching. Maybe he's more of a coordinator than he is a head coach. That's just where my standpoint is. I mean, I don't know if he has. Yeah, he's got the je ne sais quoi, the moxie, to be a head coach. The swagger. But I mean, can he really be able to be, a manager of both sides of the ball without having to have just the sole focus on offense? Because it's kind of a common theme here. With these guys that are quote unquote specialty guys. they lose sight of one aspect of the game, and that's where, a team is kind of its weakest, and that's what's happening here in Arizona. He, is obviously Kingsbury is known as an offensive guy from his days at Texas Tech. So his offense is great, 28 points. They probably are averaging mid-20s all year. Kyler Murray, who people obviously were sold on going into the draft, still had questions afterwards, though, has looked like a first pick.
He's looked like the guy.
Andre, obviously they are optimizing their wide receiver core, and I mean they're getting something out of Kenyon Drake, who was kind of an afterthought in that trade with Miami. So great pieces offensively, but then you look on the defensive side of the ball in this Rams team that looked terribly the last few weeks offensively. I mean, yeah, they've been decently putting up points, but I mean, their run game has been atrocious. I had Darrell Henderson on my fantasy team. I saw that game against Tampa Bay. They were terrible.
Darrell Henderson, 3 carries, 49 yards.
Yeah, they were awful. They couldn't run the ball for shit. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp were the only ones offensively doing anything. And now, you see they hung 38 points on them. It's like, maybe the Rams are back.
This to me, just because they kept cutting into this game when I was watching the Patriots game. This game seemed like the NBA All-Star game, where like defense optional if you really want to do it. Offense, hell yeah, just because it was very back and forth and just absolutely bonkers, And it's funny because you look at Jared Goff, 351 yards passing. Their leading receiver was Robert Woods with 85 yards. So it's like, okay, yeah, Goff had a great game, but like you look at the other numbers, it's just like in both sides, it's like nobody could really break away. Nobody had a burnout of a game. It's just back and forth, like a boxing match.
Well, you knew there was going to be divisions, and like we say, and I feel like a broken record, but it's the truth though. Your rivals you get up for. The Rams needed this win, in my opinion, because had the Cardinals got the win, the Rams would have been 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals would have been 7-6, or no, 7. And I think they've been 7-5 as well.
Yeah.
So this was a much needed game for the playoffs to see what you had. Jared Goff has been here before, but like I say, the inconsistency with him is huge.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a big X factor that I saw with this game that if I am Arizona, I might want to just keep an eye on. Not hit the panic button just yet. Kyler Murray ran for only 15 yards.
Yep.
Sure.
And he had been averaging, well over 50 before.
Sure.
So if he's forced to get into a shootout, now granted he has one of the biggest arsenals in there in DeAndre Hopkins, is he going to be able to hang with some of the other quarterbacks in a shootout in that NFC going into the playoffs?
I mean, I guess the thing for me was this scheme or was this game, or was this, just the way that the game dictated it? I mean, obviously with a guy who is a running quarterback, he looks, he has that ability, but you ask any head coach, that's a secondary thing,
sure.
I mean, so I think it was probably more the Rams scheme of keeping him, in the pocket, especially, I mean, God, you look at the Giants game against the Seahawks. I mean, they really limited, Russell Wilson's ability to be creative in the pocket, and that's what you got to do with these kind of, these quarterbacks who have this escape ability, is you have to limit their ability to get outside and stretch the field and stretch plays. And, I would say that the Rams probably took that into account, and that was their game plan.
No, I guarantee you the Rams definitely took into account, let's contain Kyler Murray, let's keep him from running, and then let's try and have him beat us over the top with their passing game. Because, Rams have got a pretty good defense, and their secondary is pretty good, too. So, you got to figure they're like, all right, we'll keep him contained, we'll keep him from running all over us, but, let's just have him try and beat us over the top because we know we can contend with that.
Well, it's a smart move by the Rams to do, and like I say, if they weren't so inconsistent, they might be running away with this division.
Sure.
But even with 4 losses, they had 4 very bad losses, especially to an egregious Miami team that lives and dies on their defense. That being said, this was a huge win for them, and for Arizona, you have to rebound very quickly.
Hopefully not. Well,
I know they got up against, but for them, they're on the outside looking in at that wild card now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the NFC, while, the NFC East, is a dumpster fire of a division, you can say. I mean, it's the rest of the playoff seeding's tough. I mean, 8-8's probably going to get you in, but a lot of teams have second half stretches that are pretty tough outside of Washington, who was just gifted, a pretty easy road to week 17. But I mean, the rest of the conference, a lot of these games, a lot of these slates that they have coming up are tough games. I mean, the Seahawks still got to play the Niners again, and the Bears still got Green Bay again. So a lot of these teams have difficult games and difficult matchups against divisional opponents that it's like, who will get into the playoffs? You know, who's going to, who can finish 8-8 and sneak in, Well,
that's going to be the storyline moving forward. But for the Rams, it was a huge win. For the Cardinals, they really got to start putting some wins together. Like I said, not to hit the panic button, but in a very stacked NFC, they need to stand out. And if Murray's going to be held one-dimensional, they better make some moves quick. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But not everybody can be Aaron Rodgers.
This is true.
And my lock, which, Philly fan, where do we begin?
Well, I'll give you the stats. Green Bay won by the final score of 30-16. Aaron Rodgers, 25 of 34 for 295 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Jalen Hurts, 5 of 12 for 109 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Also, Carson Wentz, 6 of 15 for 79 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Got sacked 4 times.
Coach,
dude, I don't even know. This team prior to that Nick Foles, and that injury that Carson Wentz had, because let's face it, they were rolling up until Carson Wentz got hurt, and then when Wentz got hurt, they were like, oh shit, here we go, Nick Foles, our starting quarterback. We're gonna be lucky if we even, can make it to the playoffs after start. They were what, like 6-0, 6-1. Like they were. I remember the game against the Giants. They absolutely obliterated the Giants at the link with Carson Wentz in the lineup. So what happened? It's the fall from, being like the franchise quarterback to then this injury, and then all of a sudden just disintegrating to the point where, 6 of 15 for 79 yards against a Packer team that, defensively has been a little shaky at best.
I'll say even in the last 15 years, Green Bay's never been known for their pass defense.
Right.
They haven't been known for defense at all.
No,
let's be honest.
And, all right, you can toss up the, he's had difficult time with, his own teammates getting injured. Alshon Jeffrey's been out. The whole entire Goddard's been hurt. The other tight end, Ertz, he's been in and out of the lineup. They really haven't had a great running game, but it's like, geez, my God, like this guy was looking at a MVP caliber season to now this injury to then it's just not the same.
Well, to be fair, Philly's hasn't had a good running game since maybe LaShawn McCoy or even Brian Westbrook. But word of advice, if you have Carson Wentz on your team, whether it's the Philadelphia Eagles or some future team, sit him the second week of December, because I saw this from ESPN Stats and Info. Carson Wentz in the second week of December 10th, 2017, tore his ACL and LCL, ended the 2017 season. December 9th, 2018, fractured his vertebrae, ended his 2018 season. Then, of course, this year he was benched for rookie Jalen Hurts. And then you come to the question of, all right, well, they've already said Jalen Hurts, Peterson's already said that Hurts is going to be their starter. Supposedly it's causing some division within the team, and not everybody agrees with it. So then you get to the question, all right, what do you do with this guy? Because, this is going to be the hard part. If you all remember, June of 2019, he signed a 4-year extension that's through 2024, $109.9 million guaranteed. Fourth most in the NFL. If he's not on the roster in 2021, it's going to cost the Eagles $59.2 million on their salary cap. If he's not on the roster in 2022, it's going to cost the Eagles $24.5 million on their salary cap. You have strapped yourself to this kid till 2024, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No, there isn't. And where did this all go wrong? All right, let's just kind of backtrack a little bit here. 2016, he was drafted.
Yep.
He did play most of the full season.
I will pull.
I do believe so. I'm pretty sure he became the starter out of camp.
Right. So 1 full season under his belt, did very well. And then he got that bad injury the next year, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he got injured 2017, second week of December.
Right. And then came back in 2018. Was he ever the same?
Well, that was 2017 the year of the run, or was it 2018?
That was 2018. So like I said, December 10th, 2017, tore 2 ligaments in his knee, and then Foles came in and they won it in February of 2018.
So the point I'm going with this is, since he's come into the league, he's only had, in 4 years, 2 years of solid play that he's got a chance to because of injuries.
At least, giving you his career stats. So 2016, he played 16 games, passed for 3,782 yards, 16 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. 2017, he played 13 games, 3,296 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. 2018, only played 11 games, 3,074 yards passing, 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. 2019, played all 16 games with 4,039 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. This year, in 12 games played, 2,620 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, 15 interceptions.
But this year in particular,
this
year, he's not seeing the field. I mean, there's wide receivers, there's guys open. He's not finding them. There's play call. He's holding on the ball long in the pocket. He's getting sacked. I mean, this is just a guy who looks, everybody's playing, checkers or chess, and he's looking at the field like it's checkers.
I mean, comparing it to his 2018 year, because that year he only played 11 games, and this year the completions are down. That 2018 he completed 279 passes, attempted 401. This year it's 251 to 437. The completion percentage is down. The average is down. The touchdowns are down. The interceptions are up. So it's definitely looks like he's regressing a little bit.
Well, where I was going with the point is that even though he's been in the league now 4 years, he only looks like he's gotten about 2 years experience in him.
At least.
Because he just looks so out of place. Now, whether it's injuries and maybe something, nagging him that he doesn't want to admit, or he just hasn't mentally recovered from coming back.
The problem with that is the sophomore year. I mean, he should, if you're talking about regression, every NFL quarterback, the fear is not that first year, because it's like, ho-hum, whatever. If it happens, it happens. It's that second year, especially for guys who come on the scene and blow up. Mm-hmm. It's always that, what are they going to do in their sophomore year?
Right.
The sophomore slump. Like, that's what everybody's afraid of.
Right.
And he beat that paradox.
Right.
He had a great sophomore year, and then all of a sudden got hurt week 11.
And he's never been right since. And that's where I was saying when I was going with the argument. Like, he's only got like 2 real years under his belt, and the other stuff, he's regressing so much. He still is making rookie mistakes and not even looking like he belongs in the league. Like, I'm sorry, this is just the eye test that I'm seeing with him.
Yeah.
And then Philly is not doing him any favors, because they should be able to see this problem. Like, why am I sitting here holding the microphone and I can tell this apart, but everybody at that staff hasn't been able to figure it out? That maybe he came in this season thinking he's something he's not, because that's how it looks. If he's coming out there and he's looking so lost and so bad, somebody on that coaching staff has got to start working with him, and I mean intently. And then I don't know if it's Wentz has just said, no, I'm already fine, look at what I've done. This is a league of what have you done for me lately, not what have you done in the past.
Yeah, I definitely think they got to get a receiver in there, just because he's never had anybody outside of like Zach Ertz or something.
Alshon Jeffries.
He's got Jeffries, but Jeffries has disappeared too.
But I mean, all right, now
Jeffries for this game, 0 catches, 0 yards, targeted once.
Right, but I mean, come on, like, he had Deshaun Jackson. Like, you can't say he hasn't had wide receivers. The dude has had talent around him.
He's had some talent around. No, he's had some talent around him.
Yeah, I mean, the 1 year, even when they traded Shane McCoy, the running back was kind of by committee. But I mean, they had the guy's escaping me, but they had a running back.
No,
he went on to the Jets afterwards. He finished his career with the Jets. They had a running back. Like, they had talent.
They've had talent, but what they've done is they have not lived up to the talent that they should have been there.
And it also, at least to my eyes, it looks like there's never been a connection there. And I'm not talking like a Tom Brady, Deion Branch level of connection, but there's just never appeared to have been that kind of like, if I'm a wide receiver, I know what we want to do. I know what we got to do. I know this. I know that. There's just never appeared to be that connection he's had with anybody. And yeah, Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, and some of the talent he's had around him. There's just never appeared to have been that like click, like, oh, we get it.
Right, and I think that's what's really hurt him. He's had Jeffries around him, he had Deshaun Jackson, but those guys just have not really kept that level of play up around him, that for a young quarterback, this has really hurt him, in my opinion. So, that being said, they've now officially pulled the Band-Aid off. Hurts is going to be the starting quarterback. So now you're going to be paying somebody to sit on the bench and hold a clipboard and get paid. And
the Giants did it with Eli Manning.
Right.
So there are multiple teams that did it with Matt Flynn.
Yeah.
But now this is like Matt Flynn squared because of how much you've invested in the guy that was your quarterback, was your ride or die, Philly fans.
That you let a Super Bowl MVP leave for.
Exactly.
Yeah, but listen, again, though, that season, they were destined. Regardless, they were, I think, at that point, like in the season, they were 8-2.
Yeah,
going into week 11, like they were dominating. I remember them beating.
That season they were team of destiny.
Yeah, they beat the tar out of the Giants that year. I don't have the same excuse for you. I just don't agree with you guys on this one. I think that he's had talent around him. I think this is. I put it a little bit on Peterson, and I think that it's Carson Wentz. I just think it's him and his lack of ability to be a quarterback. And for me, this move to Jalen Hurts, it's going to sting the pocketbook to have a guy sit on the bench getting paid, $24 million. But this is a move, I think, in the right direction because I think it's going to open the playbook up a little bit more because at least Jalen Hurts is going to be playing with house money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he can go in and just have this not necessarily a laissez-faire attitude, but he can come in and just say, I'm going to go and I'm just going to be me and I'm going to play ball. Yeah. Carson Wentz has got to be thinking, especially with the he's not Drew Brees.
No.
All right, we're going to bring Tyson Hill in, Drew, to run plays every once in a while because we want a different look. Drew Brees is like, I don't give a shit. I'm Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Same thing in who else? Indianapolis when they bring in Brissett. He, Philip Rivers knows that he can't throw the ball more than 20 yards or it's going to be a lame duck, So he's like, all right, do it, So for Carson Wentz to have this, quarterback drafted in the second round or the first round, right? It was the first round. Second round. Yeah. So to have a quarterback drafted so early when you feel like you're the franchise guy to all of a sudden, realize that you're not, you're getting yanked in and out of the lineup because they want different looks. It fucks with you mentally. You know what I mean? And I think all this stuff is piled up, and I like the move. I like the move to Jalen Hurts. I think it's early. I think it's late.
No, it's definitely a smart move because let's face it, what have you got to lose? You've had a piss poor performance from Carson Wentz this year, whatever the reason is, nagging injury, regression, just not seeing things well, but you got to do something. Ultimately, you're still in it. Let's face it, as bad as the Eagles are record-wise, they're still in it. They still have a shot to win the division. As wild as that is, but that's the way the NFC East is this year.
Oh, absolutely. And Coach, I think the running back you were thinking of, Jay Ajayi.
Yes, I knew. And they had the Lendell White.
Yeah.
Not Lendell White. They had the other LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah, LeGarrette Blount. Yes.
Yeah, so don't start this shit about him not having talent. The dude's been coated in talent.
He's had talent, but I think for the wide receiver core, it hasn't been up to snuff. That's my argument with that. But either way, Philly has got to make some moves.
Alshon Jeffries was a Pro Bowler before.
Was.
What? Okay, yeah. Listen. In 2020, is he a Pro Bowler? No. But when they got him in 2017, was he a Pro Bowler?
They got him,
the answer is yes.
Did he play up to that level?
Yeah. Dude, yes. Come on. Look at the stats in 2017. Alshon Jeffries was an absolute beast.
But then he started regressing after he got the Super Bowl.
The dude's in his late 30s, in his post-30s.
I grant you, but we're looking at the whole body of work.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, when Diggs starts regressing next year because he's going to catch 1,300 yards this year, I want the same accountability held for Diggs as Jeffries was from this year, from 2017 to 3 years later. Everybody who listens to the show, mark this deal down, all right?
Alshon Jeffries' best year was in 2013 in his sophomore year with the Chicago Bears, where he caught 89 balls for 1,421 yards, 7 touchdowns. The following year, he caught, where is it? There it is, 85 balls, 1,133 yards, 10 touchdowns. His first year with the Eagles, of course, in 2017, caught 57 balls for 789 yards, 9 touchdowns. Following year, he caught 65 passes for 840 243 yards, 6 touchdowns. 2019, played in 10 games, caught 43 passes, 490 yards, 4 touchdowns. And now this year, obviously, because he's been injured, only played in 4 games, caught 2 balls for 15 yards and no touchdowns.
That 17 season, though, it was partially with the Bears, too, right? Because they got him. Yes, because they traded him at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Okay. So when was most of the yards? I'm going to argue that it was when we was with Philly.
Well, I mean, he's got over 2,500 with Chicago alone.
Well, I mean, Chicago had he had somebody next to him that was pretty good back then.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah.
But either way, Philly is just a mess. We're all just standing here outside looking in. And for the Packers, I mean, they live and die on Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah, the Packers play in this game, too?
Yeah, but, I mean...
they're good.
What
Great,
else,
next.
What else can you say? It's just Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, revenge tour, yada, yada, yada. Same shit, different day.
Exactly.
Calling his own plays. All right,
Yep.
sounds good. Defense, thank you for getting me 10 points fantasy-wise.
Exactly. Enough said there. JVD's got to be happy with that, so shout out to him. So, Pad, why don't we take this 2-minute drill and round it home?
Yeah, no, got to talk about the Patriots and the absolute shellacking they put down on the Chargers.
Yeah, what an offensive dominating performance game by New England. What is Cam Newton's stats on there?
Offense, defense, special teams, every damn thing.
No, I'm kidding. He only had 89 yards throwing.
Yeah, he had 69 yards throwing.
Oh,
He had
sorry,
80
69.
yards. No, it was just dominant from all facets of the game. Just holy friggin'. Like, even, I forget what it was at halftime. I saved it on my phone, but just... You know, you look at first punt return since 2014 they had it just absolutely fucking nuts. At halftime, here it is. The Chargers only had 102 total yards, going, and then they had only in just a terrible game for the Chargers. You got to figure Anthony Lynn's on his way out. I figured the game would be
yeah.
I figured the game would be close just because you talk about how good the Chargers defense is. They're not making huge noise. They're kind of quiet, but fucking hell, 45-0. Loved it.
That was a joke game. Like, I'm sorry, the Chargers. That isn't ill-prepared team for this,
dude.
I
benched. Listen, a guy. I've been riding Herbert pretty strong since about week 4 when.
Belichick versus rookie QBs.
Well, not only just that, but he shut Keenan Allen down.
Oh,
he had no ability to get him the ball.
We'll say Keenan Allen went to Gilmore Island.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Right. Well, and here's the crazy thing too is going into this game, a lot of the fantasy guys were like, is Gilmore still elite? Yes. Is he able to shut down wide receivers? Yes. But due to volume, is guys like Keenan Allen and DeAndre Hopkins still going to get points against him? Mm-hmm. Yes. No. Keenan Allen, no points. 5 points total. Absolutely killed me. And I benched Herbert because I was like, I'm not even going to trust this because not only just was I thinking Bill Belichick, against a rookie quarterback, but I was like, I just don't trust the Chargers in this game, even though I picked them in our little Yahoo Pick'em because I was blinded by the fact that, I was telling Aaron about it. I love the Chargers so much. Notre Dame West, I get blinded by the cool uniforms and all the bullshit, and I fell for it again, and they burned me.
This was Herbert's second lowest passing yards for a game this season. His lowest coming against loss to the Miami Dolphins, where he only had 187 yards.
Yeah, he looked like a rookie again.
Yeah,
but the Chargers had nothing going. Austin Eckler was their leading rusher, 8 carries for 36 yards. Keenan Allen, their leading receiver, 5 catches for 48 yards.
Yeah, the Chargers just absolutely had nothing, and they mailed this one in.
Mm-hmm.
And now Anthony Lynn is on the very, very hot seat, which I think he's gone at the end of the season after this. I know I was saying he might be able to hang on to his job because of how hard the team was playing.
No.
This just completely changed the minds of
the one shot they had, I forget what the play was, but they had a shot of him on the sidelines where his hands are just on his head, like, what the hell is going on? That's telling.
No, I agree. When he did that, I was like, okay, you're done.
Yeah, it's just the Bills game alone. That's just if I was the person in power in Los Angeles after that game, I would have been like, yeah, we got to go our different ways.
Well, the writing was on the wall. Obviously the record is what the record is, but they were contending and they were hanging in there. But those decision calls he was making during the Bills game, that was enough to cause concern. And then this, to have a team come in and beat you 45-0 at home.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I know there's no crowd and whatever, but it doesn't matter. That is your team you've been preparing for, and you looked like you had not even tried playing.
Right.
None. So the Patriots got another W. The Chargers are thinking off season. But I know, Coach, you want to talk about a resurging team in the NFC.
No, I don't want to talk about the Washington football team. I want to talk about the Giants. No, so obviously I did not. I figured that the Giants would be competitive just because defensively they've been playing so well. I did not see this game coming out of them. Like, Aaron and I were kind of doing a little bit of Christmas shopping, so I was watching the game on my phone while we were doing some of this. And in particular, I caught most of the game on our drive home from Syracuse. And if you would have told me, if I couldn't see the game and, said the score was Seattle 5, the Giants nothing, I would have been like, this is a dogfight. The Giants are in this game.
Right.
Yeah. Colt McCoy alone, this team offensively had been playing moderately well. So I thought that they would be able to move the ball, against the Seattle defense, especially with the way Wayne Gallman, runs the ball just so violently, man. I mean, the dude just falls forward for being, not a big back either. Only 5'11", like 215, 220 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like a thick running back, and he just plows through the middle of the hole and does not get scared. So I knew that they would rely on him. Alfred Morris obviously had a great game, but, I was obviously a little apprehensive about Jamal Adams and their linebacker play because that's always been the Giants' Achilles heel. And my God, this Giants defense, dude, is scary. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, if you are coming to Giants MetLife Stadium, the week of the wild card, and you got to come to New York in a snowy day where you're not going to be able to throw the ball a lot, you got to be worried about this Giants defense because they are going to catch you sleeping and they're going to stop you and they're going to score enough points to win games. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the DK Metcalf stiff arm that everybody was hooting and hollering about.
Yeah.
Jesus. You know what? You got tackled. Not so great. Not really cool. When Saquon slams somebody to the ground, you go on the ground. When Derrick Henry puts you on the ground, you're in a body bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, DK Metcalf, you hopped up and you looked big, but how many yards did you gain afterwards? None. So was it really that great of a stiff arm? I'd argue no.
He's got a valid point, folks.
Thank you. So I just wanted to stick up for James Bradberry because that was ridiculous. And for Seattle, this is a bad loss.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you talk about a team
loss.
that's on tilt right now. They were on a roll early in the season. A couple injuries, towards the later weeks of the season. And now they look like a team that are on their heels. From winning the division to now, a potential wild card matchup against, the Giants, depending on whatever happens in the NFC East. Mm-hmm. And if I'm Seattle, I don't want to go back and play New York again because I think New York has their number. It took a block punt to even get Seattle to score in the first half.
Well, Seattle fans shouldn't have to worry too much. I'm looking at their record. They got the Jets on Sunday. So that's
where?
At home against the at home against the Jets. So that's going to be a tune-up game for them. Where after that they play Washington in Washington, and then they are
that's concern.
And then they're at home against the Rams in Week 16, and then they close out the year playing the 49ers.
Yeah, and Washington's got me worried, guys. I went from an all-time high. I'm texting my buddies that I lived with, and I'm like, the Giants are going to the NFC Championship game. This team's the hottest team in football. This is the 2012 Giants reincarnated. 0-6 to mess around, win the wild card. This time they'd obviously win the division, a little bit different than that 12 team. But then just a run right to the Super Bowl. And I was all on that. And then Washington won last night, and I was at a low. My jaw hit the ground. I was like, there's no way Pittsburgh's going to win this game or lose this game. I picked them to cover. My wife picked them to cover. We're like, let's go Pittsburgh. And then they lose. And I'm like, shit. Like, this is a scramble now. Like, the Giants got a murderer's row to end the year. They got the Cowboys again. They've got... I'm getting it pulled up. They got the Cardinals next week. They got the Browns after that. They got the Ravens after that. And then the Cowboys. Shit. You read the Washington schedule. I'm nervous, guys. I went from, I was tooting their horn to now I'm like scrambling.
It's not.
The schedule I read was Seattle.
Shit. Okay, you didn't even read Washington's schedule. That's how scrambled I am right now.
I'm pulling it up right now.
I'm on complete tilt.
I'm pulling it up right now. So coming up this week, they are playing San Francisco where are they playing? Arizona?
Arizona. Yeah.
Excuse me. And then they're playing Seattle at home. Week 16, they're playing Carolina at home, and then they close out the year in Philly.
The only thing that makes me feel better is the Giants had to win 3 of these next 5 games, right? And they got a bonus one, and I chalked the Seattle game as a loss, but they won. So now we got a game in the bag. You know what I mean? Like, that's an extra game of a win.
It's not all around with thought for them to make a run. I mean, obviously, the division is awful.
Washington needed to lose.
But here's the thing, though: if you can contend with Seattle at home, you take it as a feather in your cap.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what I say. So I think they can definitely go out west, do what they need to. I think they can definitely hang with anybody right now. I think Washington really stepped up for the game because I almost think that Pittsburgh took them too lightly.
I think the Pittsburgh stuff getting moved around, playing Thursday, they're out of their element, the schedule's all messed up. They were playing at home, but like Washington came off of like 17 days rest, it felt like, compared to Pittsburgh playing on Thursday, then to Monday,
Shouldn't matter, they're professionals.
Sure. I mean, no, I get it. Like, I'm being a little facetious here, but no, I mean, you got to think like, You're accustomed to your schedule practice-wise. Yeah. All right, you play Sunday, you're off Sunday to, the next Sunday, but your game, your preparation starts Monday with film, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and instead it was you played Sunday, you were getting ready for Pittsburgh all week, to then to play Thursday, to ultimately have that game get canceled. And then pushed, delayed, and then rescheduled ultimately, and then played the following week that counted for the week before. It was just madness.
It was madness, and Washington took advantage of it. I mean, that was the thing. But give credit to them. They hung in there. They punched Pittsburgh in the mouth, which I think Pittsburgh honestly did take them too lightly.
Well, I got to appreciate what Mike Tomlin said about the Steelers receivers having drop woes. Quote, they can catch the ball or get replaced by guys who will.
Well, you know Tomlin was going to address it, and Tomlin will definitely have him fired up for next week, which unfortunately I got to go face, which that'll be the true test for Buffalo, which I'm excited to see because I thought this game against the 49ers, there was one of the most ugly first quarters I've ever seen in football.
Sure.
It was hard-hitting as all blazes, but 2 goal line stops by both teams.
Right, which were... Dude, that goal line stretch by the Niners play calling wise.
Yeah.
Mostert left. Mostert right. Mostert left. Mostert right. And I'm like, the whole, obviously you and I are playing each other in our fantasy league. Yeah. And I've got Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, and Deebo Samuel's known for, running the ball or those quick, the play action in the flat type routes. So I'm sitting here like, play action? Nope. Yeah. Play action? Nope. All right, this has got, Aaron, this has got to be play action. Deebo Samuel time. Here we go. Motion. They run the handoff, and I'm like, oh, it's it. That's the play. Handoff again. And then I'm like, all right, 4th down. You got to fucking throw it now. You can't run it again.
Yeah.
No, they ran it again. I'm like, what the hell?
It was mind-boggling to watch. And then Zach Moss fumbling coming out of the gate, too.
Yeah, Zach Moss didn't play and wasn't heard from again. Was he even in the stadium after that?
He had one more carry, and then they sat him the entire game.
No, I loved it.
Which I was like, if you fumble that badly, it's going to happen.
Sure. I loved it, though, for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I was watching, the game up until like midway through the third when I went to bed, and I'm like, Zach Moss, I called him over the PA system. I don't know if you actually heard that during the broadcast, but I said, Zach Moss, if you are still in the building, please raise your hand. I didn't see him raise his hand, so they must have sent him home.
They bailed out on him. I know Singletary had 61 yards, so I'll take it as a plus. But the true MVP of this game, though, Cole Beasley.
Sure. Shout out Cole Beasley, funniest touchdown celebration of the year.
Oh my God, the rock and the baby asleep.
Yeah, he did say about that. It was the lineman's idea. He said he was told if you find the end zone, can I rock you to sleep? And Beasley's like, yeah, you can.
Yeah. But I will say this, though. For Buffalo, they played a better third quarter than they normally have done.
Shocking.
I know, which was like, wow, who's actually calling plays on defense? They were slowing up the run, but I was very shocked, and Coach, you kind of touched upon what I was going to go with. The play calling by the San Francisco offense all game was egregious.
There was that pitch to one of the running backs. It wasn't Mostert that got like a 15-yard loss.
Coleman.
Coleman.
Tevin Coleman.
Yeah. They had Ayuk. Try to block the defensive end.
Yeah.
And he literally, and they were like, "You'll see that play again, but you'll know Deebo Samuel will be the one blocking him." And it's like, no, that play shouldn't be ran. Like,
yeah, you
shouldn't run a pitch where you're relying on a wide receiver to kick out a defensive end. That's just dumb.
No, and that's the Niners season in a nutshell. In all honesty, you have the talent, and I know you've had injuries. I get that.
I mean, two of their biggest paying contracts were up in the press box. Yeah.
But it is what it is with it. Nick Mullins came in. He played good.
Hey, he's played well. I mean, they beat the Rams last week, so that just goes to show that they're still a comparable football team. That's why I picked them.
Yeah, but this game though, the play calling was
that's what shot him in the foot.
Yeah. But as a Bills fan, I will take that.
Sure.
And obviously, we got the big one on Sunday night against Pittsburgh, so we'll get ready for that. So much more football we could talk about, but definitely we want to get you involved in that conversation. So hit us up on that hashtag ODPH. What was your thoughts about the week of football that was Week 13? We got to have that conversation. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Greetings, henchmen and loyal subjects. I am Evan the Great.
And I'm JVD. We're your hosts of the Fictional Battle Podcast, Crossover Collision, brought to you by the Villains Demand.
If you love hearing in-depth breakdowns of your favorite characters and what they are capable of doing while fighting in random battlegrounds against other fan favorites, then this is the podcast for you.
New episodes drop every Friday wherever you listen to your favorite podcast or over on thevillansdemand.com.
Hi, this is Tyler from Second Suitor, and you're listening to the ODPH podcast. I want you to get it. I want you to understand. I'm doing the best I can, but not as good as I want to be. I just want to get it. I just want to comprehend that I have to make amends with the mind.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and time to talk a little wrestling and run the ropes.
Wrestling!
Now, this past week was WWE NXT TakeOver Wargames on the WWE Network.
It was me, Damien. It was me all along.
Oh, we're going to get into that. So we definitely want to recap what was arguably one of the best NXT takeovers they've had in a while now.
Yeah.
Minus that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like I said, we're going to deep dive into everything that was War Games takeover. So, Pat, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, so to start off, things started off hot. They started off with the women's War Game match where you had Team Candice LeRae, which was Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, and Toni Storm, defeat Team Shotzi Blackheart, which was, of course, Shotzi, Ember Moon, Io Shirai, and Rhea Ripley.
Coach, your thoughts on this?
I did not. I actually forgot that the show was on because I was coming off of my Giants victory celebration and getting my kids home from my aunt's house.
Fair enough.
However, I did see the dive off the top in the garbage can, which was nuts.
That was incredible.
Nuts.
Yeah. Pat?
That was probably the lone highlight for me for this match. I mean, the match wasn't bad, but I just felt the entire time that it was building to something more. And I never got that. I mean, I know Indy Hartwell showed up and helped, Team Candice LeRae win, but it just, the entire time, it felt like it was building to something happening. And I don't know if it was like a spot or a move or somebody showing up and making an appearance, but it's just the entire time I felt I was getting built up for something and then it just never happened. So the match was okay. It was a good start, just felt like it could have been a little bit better.
See, for me, I thought it was built very well, but I do agree with you. They were building like Io was going to do something crazy because, I mean, obviously how they do is they have two members start for each team in the ring, and then every 5 minutes they release somebody.
Yo, can we jump on that real quick?
Sure.
How fucking dumb of a concept is that?
That's
like, it's just like, I'm sitting here and I'm like watching the men's match because I did catch that, and you're like, isn't the point of the match to win the match? And you're just watching one guy go in, then the next guy, and then the team that has the advantage has two guys come in. And, like, shouldn't they be trying to win the match? Like, shouldn't the one guy be trying to, escape or not get pinned or something? Like, everybody should just be released.
I mean, the match, according to the rules, can't start until everybody's in the ring. And then, I think they brought up in the men's war game match, because at one point, and we'll get to this when we talk about it, McAfee tried to escape from the ring during the men's war game match, but he would have forfeited.
Yeah.
If he would have left the ring and hopped out, they would have forfeited.
It just makes it so, like, it should be like an elimination style. Like, it almost defies logic to have to build this giant, long, story to then have the crescendo.
See, to me, though, if you do the elimination style, it feels too much like an elimination chamber or any of the other matches.
Well, this was created in the 80s, so
Right,
this would have been...
Right, but I like it in the fact that war games, it feels like a war.
Games.
Thank you. We got to get that sound clipped.
Yes.
It feels like a war where they're going back and forth, and it's really just who comes out on top.
Yeah, but in war, everybody's fighting at the same time.
Yeah.
It's one.
It's just a little pet peeve that I had watching the men's match. I'm just sitting here and I'm like,
unless you're Lord of the Rings, you're waiting for Rohan to show up.
why?
Yeah.
Why? Just somebody eliminate, like, just finish it, like.
Well, I mean, you touched upon the concept. It was a 1980s idea that
Sure.
still is lingering around, but it's the nostalgia factor.
Dusty.
Yes, rest in peace. So obviously, this was what we were expecting, and then, like we were touched upon, they were building up for something big. I thought EO should have done the moonsault with the garbage can on. I know that would have been absolutely crazy.
So dangerous.
It would have been,
especially
but
since you can't see where you're landing.
I know, but that's why I was like, if she does that, I'm gonna go buy a T-shirt on Shop Zone. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, no, I just felt like, especially when Indy Hartwell came out, and like they kept denying EO from getting in the cages, in the rings. I just felt like at some point they were building to like maybe like a Charlotte showing up, or just somebody showing up, that it just never got it.
No, we didn't get it, but we definitely got a brutal match. And like I said, Rhea Ripley was absolutely killing Dakota Kai at one point.
Holy shit!
With the kendo sticks and whatever else, I forgot. Like, they had so many weapons.
Oh my god, they practically emptied the underneath the ring.
Yeah, like, it was absolutely crazy. But the winners,
But they didn't get to what came later.
That's true.
No, they definitely did not. Which we will touch upon in just a sec. But this match, though, I thought was kind of interesting that they had Raquel Gonzalez do the Mike Awesome powerbomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Onto the ladder.
Yeah.
It was not the breakable one.
No.
Ouch.
So
No, it was not.
No, so EO definitely they set up something for the future there, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
overall, like I said, it was a great start to the match.
Yeah.
I really liked it, but I also am a big Rhea Ripley fan, so to see her just go completely crazy in there was,
Oh my God, yeah.
was awesome. So
Yeah. After that, you had Tommaso Ciampa taking on Timothy Thatcher in an ow holy shit match. Okay,
Yes.
not really, but those two going up against each other. Damn. Tommaso Ciampa emerged victorious via pinfall, defeating Timothy Thatcher.
So this match, which
Ow.
we said on the stream because we were doing the live reaction on twitch.tv/610 podcast.
Sure.
Thatcher looked like he busted open his eardrum.
Well, I mean, when
was
you have, cauliflower ear,
Yeah.
these things just tend to pop.
Yeah,
So.
because this match was everything I thought it was going to be, and I needed a mouth guard to watch it because my teeth hurt.
Sure.
Because these two were going out there and absolutely beating the shit out of each
They,
other.
they were working each other. Like, there was probably an agreement put in place between the two. Like, all right, let's go out and just work stiff. Okay.
Yeah, and like, I didn't even realize like the ending had happened. I was just like in that much amazement. They were just being that violent with each other.
Yeah, I mean, the finish is, I don't know. I like Thatcher. I feel like they could really be doing something with him. So, I feel like this, his third loss again on a pay-per-view?
Second one.
Second one
like
on a
that, yeah.
takeover. Like, I feel like he should be up there, either chasing the U.S. title or, the NXT title, something.
Yeah.
Or what I'm even thinking is he might be going over NXT UK
Ooh, that could be.
because
Okay.
now that they're back up and running.
Could
so
be.
I think right now he's in a little bit of flux because I think with everything going on, they're not sure exactly who's going to go where and do what. Because
Sure.
obviously on NXT we've had some of the members of NXT UK come over. Like last week was Grizzled Young Veterans.
Right.
So it's not out of the realm of thought to think that maybe he might wind up over there. So they want to put him in a big storyline here. But I don't think this match hurt him at all. In fact, I think this is going to get ran back, and I'm going to be very scared with it.
No, I mean, I know it's like in 2020, like the quote unquote hurt guys is difficult. It's just, I don't know. I would like him to be that just brutal heel that just like always beats the shit out of the faces. You know what I mean?
It still could happen, but like I said, I think they're just holding off right now because of storyline.
Sure.
Yeah.
But next up, though, was a real wild match for
Yeah,
storyline.
yeah. You had Dexter Lumis taking on Cameron Grimes in a strap match where Dexter Lumis defeated Cameron Grimes by submission.
This match was fun NXT style,
Dexter Lumis creeps the shit out of me,
but Dexter Lumis is,
and I don't mean that in a bad way. He's fucking creepy.
yeah, he won me over.
Yeah, I actually, from the Halloween special, Dexter Loomis kind of grew on me, and I was like, "This is weird as shit, but I'm here for it."
Yeah, no, like I get the appeal, and I'm definitely all for it, but just deadpan stare.
Yeah,
especially when he's looking at the camera, and I'm like, "All right, stop looking at me."
You know what's gonna be weird is if he ever gets called at the main roster and they put him in a program with Bray.
Oh, that won't. That first off, he is not. That is not. That character is not main TV.
No
appeal at all.
Yeah, I'm just saying. If they want to do a quick shot in the arm or something for like a Survivor Series, can you just imagine the promos?
Yeah, that'd be something.
Yeah, like they'd be absolutely crazy. But this one, like I was a little bummed out Cameron Grimes didn't win because I think he's done enough. He's got to start getting over. But their chemistry they have with each other is great. So I wasn't mad about this.
No.
We also did have a couple of vignettes from Finn Balor returning on Wednesday to address the NXT universe.
Didn't he already address the univeress?
But
how many times are we going to address
he addressed the universe, but he was interrupted by Pat McAfee and crew.
Who does he think he is? Just holding,
he's the prince.
Well, he's not the governor.
No, this is true.
This is true.
But he definitely is going to be back on Wednesday, which, I mean, I'll touch upon as soon as we get done recapping the card of why I think they put him on. We also had a Karrion Kross vignette.
TikTok.
Sure. Yeah, so
he thinks that's going to be his Balor's
What? I mean, that's what? When was he hurt? That was...
June. Yeah.
So he's due back.
About due back.
He's due back, and if you've seen the videos online, I believe from his girlfriend Scarlett Bordeaux, he's already lifting a crazy amount.
I would hold off till that Mania takeover, or even the Rumble takeover. Have him back then.
Well, you know what? Like I said, when we get done with the card, I'll explain why I think they're doing that.
Okay. All right. I'm excited for the tease.
Up next, you had the NXT North American Championship being defended between champion Leon Ruff, Damian Priest, and Johnny Gargano, where Johnny Gargano defeated both of the latter two members to become your first ever 3-time North American NXT champion with a little bit of help.
Yeah, I love the match, but the Ghostface Dark Order, I can do without.
How many more Minion-esque type shits do you need? You got Retribution running around, you got Bray with the puppets, now you got Ghostface, Scream Mask running around. Like, I mean, if this was a cross promotion with Scream 4, would be brilliant.
Never
or Scream
never,
5.
Never say never, but
sure.
That'd be great.
But I mean, just randomly having them appear.
Well, we do know who one Ghostface is.
Sure,
Austin Theory.
Yeah, which I don't think I don't think they're using the Ghostface thing. Going to be using the Ghostface thing going forward. I think that was just a means to an end. I really, like you said, I really wish they could have done a crossover and brought in some of the actors and actresses for that because that would have been amazing.
Well, hey, I know a guy.
Yeah,
this is true.
Never say never, but it was an interesting way to kind of, I guess, unite.
You can't kill him either.
This is true.
This is very true.
It was an interesting way to bring together Gargano and Austin Theory and have them pair together. It was cool though.
It was cool. Like, I loved this match, and I thought the chemistry that all three of them had was great.
Yeah.
I thought Damian Priest doing the Razor's Edge with Leon Ruff through the barricades and seeing two walls knocked.
Sure, Jesus.
I guess I don't know the Austin Theory thing. I just don't understand. I mean, how many dudes is he just gonna get fucking hoisted on or foisted, as Larry David would say?
Well, you know what?
Because that's what just keeps happening.
I think the problem with him is he was a Paul Heyman guy, and Heyman knew what he wanted to do with him. And then obviously they haven't put him on SmackDown for whatever reason. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's lost in the shuffle, and now they don't know what to do with him. So he's kind of getting bounced around for whoever needs somebody in their corner. I think him in NXT is the right move. I think him in a Raw or SmackDown is not. No. He's not ready yet, even though he had a great run with Evolve. But he needs more time, and so maybe pairing him with Gargano will do something.
You know what would be good? Him with AJ Styles.
Well, yeah, if AJ is going to be doing any kind of faction, that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I'd be all right with that.
I just, to me, now Candice has her little posse, and now, and the Dakota Kai thing, and now, he's got this thing, so it's going to be is this going to be like a mom and dad story with their two younglings, that they're training and stuff? Like, I don't know. It's dumb.
I want to give it some time to play out, but
sure.
I agree with you.
Your patience is far exceeding mine.
Yes. So we'll just have to wait and see. But overall, in-ring work was spot on. Like, this could have been match of the night, except for the main event.
Yeah. So the main event, of course, was the men's War Games match where you had Team Undisputed Era and Adam Cole Bebe taking on Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. And then you had the team assembled by Pat McAfee. In Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, Danny Burch, and Oni Lorcan, where Undisputed Era emerged victorious.
So, Coach, you did catch this match.
I did.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought this was very good, very solid War Games match.
Yeah.
McAfee didn't take away from it, which I didn't think he would. And, I mean, I saw CM Punk post something on Twitter where he was like, a lot of guys are mad backstage because McAfee, isn't given, his, the little bullet points to hit. But it's like when he cuts a promo like that, there's a reason why, boys.
Yeah.
And I'm paraphrasing, but like, his in-ring work backs it up too. I mean, he is willing to go there and didn't take anything away from this match, which in a match where it's, a quote-unquote spot fest, where, they're going to be setting stuff up and they're going to be doing all that, this is an opportunity for a guy like him to kind of phone it in and hang back, and he was in the thick of shit. And good for him for it.
Yeah.
That Adam Cole chair bump, though, yikes.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yikes.
The only thing worse was the Ember Moon coming off with the total eclipse on Dakota Kai on the chair.
Sure.
Which that looked...
Wasn't that Candace?
No, that was, I believe that was on Dakota.
Okay.
But either way, Ember hit that move and it was out of control. But the Adam Cole one, yeah.
Dude, he took that bruiser finish, that spin, straight on the corner of the chair. I was like... I screamed. It wasn't even just it wasn't a gasp. It was oh my God, he just broke his ribcage.
Yeah.
See, it's funny because for me, you for what you said about Pat, I feel at least a little bit differently, just because he had some good moments and he shined a little bit, but and maybe it was just because that's when I noticed it. It felt like there was more times that he was just staying the fuck out of the way for all the other guys, the Birches, the Lorcans, the Dunns, and the Undisputed guys, where it felt to me like there was a lot of time where he's standing off in the corner so he doesn't get in the way of a spot, or he's standing in between the two rings so that he doesn't get involved.
Well, you have to also think about it like this. He's had one match to his belt.
Right.
He's now in a very dangerous match if he does not know what he's doing.
Right.
So I think they played it very smart by keeping him away, albeit, though, that senton he did from the top of the cage, it looked like everybody moved out of the way.
Yeah, no, they did not catch him.
Yeah, they did not.
I noticed that they didn't even have to show a replay. I caught that on the live shot. I was like, oh shit, they did not catch him.
Yeah, he hit square down. And he did all right in everything else, though. I did have one major issue with him, though, in this one.
Okay.
All right.
When Cole hit him with the Panama Sunrise,
yes,
he kicked out.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah,
okay, that move is now shot.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
That was
when he kicked
finisher,
out.
Yeah.
That was my one issue, because I'm like, okay, he's not a full-time wrestler.
It's his second ever match.
It's his second ever match.
It's like Christ carrying cross, and all these other guys have kicked out of it.
Right, but they're established.
Or not kicked out of it, I should say.
Right, but they're established wrestlers, and I'm saying for a guy that has only had one under his belt to kick out of that, I was like, all right, that move is done as a finisher.
I mean, I think the story at the time of the match with him kicking out was when you saw Cole's reaction, the shock, the oh my God, it was almost as if to say, to have Cole pull the what do I have to do to put this guy away? I'm going to have to go there.
Yeah.
Type moment. I think maybe that's what they were trying to go for, because it didn't when it happened at the time. I did not have the same reaction. I was just like, shit, all right, where do we go from here? So that was I didn't gauge it with that urgency like you did, which does make sense now looking back. If I watched it again with that perspective, I might be like, oh, that's true, because the finish was a little lame duck afterwards.
Yeah, with O'Reilly coming off with a flying knee on the chair on Oni Lorcan's face.
Yeah.
Which looked brutal as shit.
Sure, and it did, but again, McAfee should have been the one to take the L out of all these guys to begin with.
Right.
And for it to not be, the Panama Sunrise to the kick out to the, all right, what do I need to do to put this guy away? I'm going to have to fucking hurt him to finish him. I'm going to go. They're wearing the suits. They're doing the Reservoir Dog style stuff. I'm going to have to hurt this man. That should have been the next move. Put him in the thing. do the stomp on the chair, the Christian Edge style thing.
Yeah, do a concerto.
Yeah, not even concerto. Who was the wrestler that for a while was doing putting the arms in the legs and then stomping on the chair and breaking arms? Like somebody was doing that. Like that's what I'm thinking needed to be done.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Or like maybe even have him set up with the chair around the throat and super kick it, and have the chair spike him in the throat. Because I mean, again, the escalation of violence should have been the response.
Oh, it should have been, and then that's why I said that was my only drawback for the match. But I thought it was great. Otherwise, it was brutal and everything it needed to be.
Yeah.
And your Undisputed Era won. I will say that I do appreciate Pat McAfee selling the injuries from Wargames on his show. He's been wearing the neck brace.
Well, that's why the super kick to the throat would have been perfect. Real sick.
Yeah.
Especially, oh, man, I got difficult. If he would have been pulling that, I can't talk.
Yeah. But I have a feeling now he's going to be back.
Oh, hell yeah.
But now it's not done. So the fact he was still on character.
Again, I don't have the problem with him because I feel like there's a commitment level.
Yeah, no, I will give you this. I'm not the biggest fan of him personally.
Okay,
sure. His whole shtick. I'm not but I'm not hating on it. It's just I'm not a big fan. And I've said this before.
Well, it's the same thing that again, like I said last week with Amel. These guys who commit themselves for these celebrity one-offs. Mm-hmm. For them to then dive in head first and really commit themselves to this, whatever they want to do, I respect because the credibility not the credibility, but the eyes that it brings to the sport are worth the that bullshit that you get from that audience.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Shaq showing up on AEW does nothing for me to push the needle because what is that going to lead to? Nothing. Pat McAfee constantly meddling in Undisputed Era's business to lead to matches that lead to things down the road that get bumped for other people, that get pressed for other people. He's talking about it on his show. Yeah. Is Shaq going to go on NBA TV, on TNT the next night and talk about his appearance on AEW? Fuck no.
Yeah, no, it's...
I mean, he might because it's, AEW and TNT pushes AEW hard.
But I get the point you're saying, though. No, I agree with you. And like I said, McAfee, he's definitely committed to it, and that's why I say, I have a little more respect for him for, what he does in the ring, because he does commit. I will give you that.
Amel's producing a wrestling show now.
Yeah.
The dude loves the business.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have people like that, then they're great to have in there. So, like I said, I don't have an issue seeing him come back. I just, when I saw him kick out of there, I'm like, I think he's coming back.
Yeah, there's got to be a story told there.
There'll be a more story told down the line. And hell, at this stage, I don't doubt him winning the North American title. At least.
Maybe.
As wild as that sounds.
Maybe.
But the card was good, but now it leads us into Wednesday. And this is what I was saying with the big deal.
The tease.
Because this Wednesday, they have a very big AEW to go up against.
They do.
Because as we are recording, tonight on Impact, Kenny Omega will be on Impact Wrestling, which I know you guys are not the biggest fans of, but
I know Impact's been good, Ken. Yeah,
no. But how is the reaction to the crossover now that you're having with AEW and Impact?
Nothing. First off, it was already recorded on Sunday, so it's not even like he's going to be at the Impact Zone. So, snooze fest. The story already came out that Don Callis' contract is up with Impact at the end of this year, that he's going to AEW. Snooze fest. Doc Gallows and Machine Gun,
Gallows and
Anderson doing a crossover. Yeah, all right. Who are they going to wrestle in the tag team division that's worth a damn right now in AEW? That will interest me.
Well, the only question I have, because I was shocked to see that this was happening, is what this will open up for potential. Because the two things that happened on Dynamite last week, you had Kenny Omega winning the belt, and then obviously taking off and setting up the storyline there.
I also watched this card, and I tried to go in with an unbiased opinion, Ken, because I was like, you know what? I do podcast. We talk this stuff. I should do my responsibility as a podcaster and watch this show, okay? Mm-hmm. Unbiased opinion. Yeah. I tried my best to watch it, and I was not impressed. I actually found myself flipping it to NXT just to see what was going on because the Kenny Omega Moxley match was not great.
No, it wasn't the greatest match, but I just was sold on the ending of it that I thought was something new and something fresh.
Okay.
And then that's where it was.
And Sting. E2 Brute?
Yeah. Sting coming out.
Petty bitch.
Was,
I said it.
I understand you did. I heard you.
And what? And so what? So what? Listen, for as much as Meltzer talks about the demographic of AEW fan, my 4-year-old son who loves watching wrestling and is a big WWE person because, that's what we've watched in the household, is not going to give a shit that Sting shows up on AEW. He doesn't care that Moxley's on AEW. I don't, so if you want to talk about getting the young demographic, what is a 16-year-old kid who's never seen a Sting match outside of WrestleMania when WWE told you the backstory, give a shit about it? Pad, tell me, because your hand's raised.
No, that's me. I did not watch any of the Monday Night Wars.
Okay.
I was not aware of Sting until he showed up in, 2014, 2015 at Survivor Series, and Nostradamus freaked the fuck out, and I thought he was going to break a chair.
Well, that's where I was going to go with the point that it's not a big deal for the young demographic. It's the ones that were watching WCW and the Monday Night Raw.
But let me just say, quote, same, but different.
Yeah.
But still same.
But still same. But why? Because he's not going to wrestle. And if he does... Why?
No, he shouldn't wrestle at 61. No,
right? Like why? And so you're paying for him to show up in his face paint, point his bat, and then leave. Like the only people who are into that and are gushing and gooing over that are the people who were already anti WWE to begin with, who now can just pull their thing more over to the AEW and say, "Oh, we've got Sting now."
Yeah.
That's it. That's the people that are going to be stigmatized by this. And I'm sorry that I ran on that, but the Sting thing hopped in my head, and I didn't want to not talk about it.
No, I mean,
you're allowed to speak on it.
Sure. No, I know. Yeah. Go ahead. Do your tease me.
No, I mean, in regards to the whole Impact AEW thing, is it cool? Yeah, sure. Am I going to watch? No. Are there some matchups there that that I've seen people speculate online that that'd be cool to see? Yeah. Is it enough to make me go watch any of them? No. I am aware of indie guys in the indies, and I've heard some names and I recognize some names, but none of them are any big for me to go, holy shit, I gotta watch. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stick with NXT. I like NXT. I don't give a shit about the ratings. The ratings are what they are.
Right.
The ratings, as much as the ratings matter to fans, the only people that really give a shit about the ratings are the people buying ads. Yeah. It's the corporations and the companies investing.
But let's not talk about that. Because No. Let's not talk about ad buy rate, okay?
So that's the only people who care about the ratings, So is it cool? Yeah, sure. Is it interesting to see what happens out of this? Yeah, sure. Am I going to watch? No.
Well, see, I think it's interesting. No, I agree. No, I'm not saying your points are wrong. I'm not. I'm just saying I think it's very interesting to see in this day and age what they can do with it, if they can do. If this is just a one-off.
I think this is also a result of them not being able to work with New Japan because of restrictions and everything.
Well, that's going to be another factor, too, that if restrictions start getting lifted, because they have been doing a little bit stuff here and there with New Japan and AEW. I am saying I'm just waiting to see how this all plays out. But
and you had a tease, and I'm very interested before I took the ball and ran. So what is your tease that WWE is going to do?
Because WWE is going to have Finn Balor and Karrion Kross come out there, because I think that they did this as counter-programming to kind of set up something in motion, or you're going to have a title shot on net. Because I think that they're going to say, okay, not that they're panicking because they don't.
Right.
But I think what they're going to say is, okay, AEW is coming with Sting speaking, and he's going to cut a shoot on WWE.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Seth Rollins hurt me.
Which, I mean, the whole nonsense with that is they already had an article, I believe it was in Bleacher Report, that Sting was saying why he left and he was disgruntled.
Yeah.
So they've already given away the bag on that one. Then you're also going to have whatever the fallout is going to be tonight from Impact, which the internet wrestling community is going to tune in to watch.
Reddit will care, yeah.
But like I said, the internet's going to be turning over to watch it. So I think what NXT is going to do is say, we're still going to have fallout from War Games. Finn Balor is coming. Karrion Kross is coming. We'll either have a meetup or we could possibly have a match because they're going to want to do some counter-programming to it.
I can tell you right now that whatever Sting's shoot is, because all the ex-WWE guys, because, that they're not the same. They're new, but they're same. All of them, when they've come in, have shot their little shoe. Don't give a shit. Sting, sorry, you fucked up by going to TNA during your peak year that you had left instead of going to WWE, biting the bullet, and wrestling Taker, if that's what you really want to do. Yeah. If you really wanted to wrestle Taker and you called Vince up and said, Vince, Sting here, really, hey, I want to wrestle Taker. I know we've had our differences, whatever. Like if you would have made that phone call, right? If you would have made that phone call, you telling me that Vincent Kennedy McMahon would not have seen dollar signs and said,
"Oh fuck
yeah,
he would have made it happen.
He would have made it happen."
Yeah.
So you dropped the ball by going to TNA. You fucked up by waiting so long, and then you really screwed the pooch by coming in and being like, I don't want to do this. I want to do this, and like calling your own shots. And okay, so they put you in the program with Rollins to get him over, which good for them because that's what they should have done. And then they had you lose the job out to Triple H.
Yeah.
Then that's what they do to WCW guys. So you should have saw it coming.
Well, that's what I think they're going to be really eyes tuning in about this. And like I say, I agree with you because, his whole shoot thing, I'm not super excited about because he's going to say something. But just to see how the demographic moved, as in the ratings, that was the only key thing, that there was a certain demographic that tuned in.
Right.
I'm not...
Right. No, and I get it. Like, I understand those people because they're already disenfranchised with WWE.
Right.
So, like, any sort of, like, thing that they can grasp onto the age of WCW, they're going to grasp onto because that's what people do. They search for nostalgia and they hone in on it. It's just, to me, at 61, and being that I watched the Attitude Era and did flip back and forth and did the Monday Night Wars, watched all the documentaries, did the whole shtick, I have zero interest in any of those guys anymore. I don't want to see them anymore. They are dinosaurs. They are fading away, and just let them go. Let it go.
I agree because I think that granted, I was very interested to see Sting come back out, and I was kind of like very puzzled by it.
As soon as I saw the lights flicker, I texted you. Knew it, first off, I knew it was coming. Hey, Meltzer, great job reporting that. If you're the Mr. Insider, because you dropped the ball on that one too, because weird. You always do that with AEW stuff, but same, but different.
But still same.
But no, I keep jumping. I'm fired up about this because I think it's so stupid because AEW sits here and they boast about how they're different, and Cody. And then you look at the guys who are over. Cody's over. The Bucks are over. Omega's over. Weird. I feel like those four guys have stake in the company.
You
reminds me of a certain point in WCW.
Weird.
Yep.
Same, but different. But same.
Still.
And then you now bring in a guy like Sting to come in and do what? You bring in Arn Anderson. You bring in Tully. You bring in Jake the Snake. You bring in all these guys and you do nothing with them. Taz, let this shit go. You want to be different? Be different. Build your own stars.
You want to
build them.
You want to be the alternative to WWE. You want to give fans who aren't happy with the product WWE has been putting out for, let's not just say the last year, but the last 5, do that. That's fine. But don't turn to former WWE hands and WCW hands to build off that nostalgia factor and bring in the audience. Do something different. Don't bring in the old hands.
Well, that's
but
what we've always talked about too. Is AEW's problem is who is AEW? What is AEW?
Well, it's just so goddamn. I mean, TNT is obviously willing to fully invest in this vehicle of wrestling. Like, they've already shown they're having during NBA broadcast talk about it. They're doing it during their golf coverages, when they had the match. Like, they are fully committed to in you guys being successful. Then why do you need Miro cutting promos in the middle of his Twitch stream? Why do you need Zack Ryder showing up the minute he's eligible to wrestle again? Why do you need Sting to show up during your biggest card of the night when you're supposed to be crowning a new champion, and you still need Sting to come in to help get buzz going into your main event?
Well, it just goes to show. They're still finding their ways. No, I agree. Like, I'm not saying defending it.
Yeah, no, I know you're not. You're devil's advocating, and I can respect that.
Yeah,
but
because
it frustrates. Why do you need Shaq to come on Wednesday?
You don't, but he's coming on. So,
right.
like I said, where I was going with it is AEW is really loading up this Wednesday.
Sure.
So, in their way, is it going to be enough for NXT to draw out something big on their end? They did announce Finn. They did announce Karrion Kross.
Yeah, and you talk about, Pat, you brought up the ratings and everything. You talk about how WCW and their biggest thing was they gave away pay-per-view matches because they were like, the only way we can create buzz is to give away these big card, big name events to pull eyes away from WWE.
Yeah.
Do you see NXT doing that?
No, and that's why I say that it'll be very interesting to watch what NXT does Wednesday. I'm not saying that they're buckling to do anything. No,
they're not, because they don't give a shit.
And as somebody who's a religious NXT watcher, AEW has done nothing for me. Even with the Sting thing, I saw the Sting thing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He's not going to do anything.
Yeah,
he's just showing up for a cup of tea, and then he's gonna show up
3 hours of face paint,
shock the hell out of everyone. He's going to turn around and leave. They've done absolutely nothing for me to go, you know what, why don't I check out what's going on?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see, especially he signed a multi-year deal. That was the thing in the press release we got.
I just wonder, is he going to bring RoboCop with him?
Oh, if he only could.
Shockmaster.
I guess we'll have to tune in Wednesday night to find out. I know we'll be doing some live tweeting as well.
And one more thing. Somebody had brought up to Uncle Dave about how Tony Khan's football team's doing over in the EuroLeague soccer, which obviously I don't watch. But Meltzer's response back to that was, "How's the XFL?" Fuck you, Uncle Dave. It ain't the same thing. He is the owner of this soccer team that's about to get kicked out of the league. Yeah, the XFL was unsuccessful, but it's nothing of Vince's fault. It happened during a pandemic. Mm-hmm. What's happened to this soccer team while Khan's been the owner? What's going on with the Jaguars since the Khans have been the owner? Not the same thing.
Exactly.
But different.
Same.
But same.
But different.
But different.
But same.
Different.
Lots to discuss on the wrestling end, so definitely hit us up on that hashtag ODPH, and also join in the live streams too on twitch.tv/607podcast for some live reactions. Coach is good. He definitely wants to talk to you on Twitter. So does Pad. All our social media accounts can be found at OD Parlay Hour on Twitter, so definitely head on over and swing by and let us know your take on all the wrestling action. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi everyone, this is Mark, the DM for Stranger Damies. What is Stranger Damies, you ask? Well, we're just a bunch of first-time D&D players exploring the world of Tal'Dorei 30 years after the events of the Coma Conclave, which was made famous on Critical Role. Join us every week as we roll some dice, make some mistakes, but most importantly, we have fun. New episodes air every Wednesday at strangerdamies.podbean.com or on your favorite podcast streaming app. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at StrangerDamies. And is it Wednesday yet?
Hey, this is Johnny Moose from Excite Wrestling, and you're listening to the ODPH. I didn't mess it up. I thought I would. Right now, back to the guys.
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Time to round the bases and take the show home.
Yeah, I got to talk a little bit about college football. Normally I'd talk some baseball, but there's not much going on. So in college football, while Ohio State and Michigan is off this weekend, we'll get to that in a minute, there is still a rather huge rivalry taking place this Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern on CBS, and that is Army versus Navy. Taking place, like I said, Saturday, 3 o'clock at Mikey Stadium, which, if you're not familiar with Mikey Stadium, that is the name of the stadium at the West Point Military Academy. Taking place at the school. Now, normally the games take place at some NFL field because, the huge crowd and, the entire Corps of Cadets and the midshipmen, go to the game and they watch the game, stand for the entire damn thing except for halftime, which is bonkers in and of itself. But because of the pandemic going on, the game was moved to West Point Military Academy. And side note, I'm a little bit biased. My brother did go to Army. He did attend West Point. He is in the United States Army. I get that the Navy parents are bitching and moaning that the games, why's it got to be in Army's backyard? Motherfuckers, that game has been in Baltimore more games than I can count, which is in your fucking backyard. So sit down and shut the fuck up.
Wow. Well, as a Notre Dame fan, if you guys didn't know, I tend to always cheer for Navy because strength of schedule wise, Notre Dame always plays Navy every year, so it's nice to have a little feather on the cap of a win there. But also, Pat, to piggyback here real quick, Michigan, Ohio State, as we hinted on the beginning of the show, is canceled.
Yep.
And sends college football in the Big Ten into a huge flux because now Ohio State, due to games being canceled earlier in the year and when the Big Ten championship game is being played, only has 5 victories, making them ineligible technically for the Big Ten championship due to their own rules. So Ohio State either needs to pull a Coastal Carolina / BYU and find an opponent this weekend, or they might not be in the college football playoffs, because technically also with not having 6 wins, they are not bowl eligible.
Yeah, that's wild. That's what we're teasing about. The Ohio State fans are going to be livid right now.
Yep. My wife, being the resident Ohio State fan, unfortunately, was very upset. I did tease her because obviously Michigan, Notre Dame, big rivals. I said, how ironic is it that Michigan, which, by the way, Kirk Herbstreit, I want to give credit to, because he actually called this out and got absolutely destroyed for it, had said, watch Michigan cancel the last 2 games of their year because they don't want to play. And everybody was like, how disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. Well, he was right, because they did. So, how funny is it, though, that Michigan cancels their last 2 games of the year and it ends up helping Notre Dame and basically killing Ohio State? Yeah. The irony, the irony in that. It's very interesting. I mean, there's the conference title games are coming up next week. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do. I really hope, for the sake of my household, that Ohio State can find something to fit in this week. I mean, there's a lot of ACC teams that are off because it's championship weekend. I don't see why somebody can't, lend a helping hand and play a game,
Yeah. Now, just some real quick stats with the Army-Navy game, because there's a lot of history and tradition with this game. Currently, going into this meeting, Navy leads the series, 61 wins, 52 losses, and then 7 ties. Just some real quick facts. They've played 116 times, like I mentioned, with the first game taking place on November 29th in 1890 at West Point. Navy had been playing organized football since 1879 and defeated the Army team 24-0. There've only been 10 times since the games have been played where they have not played each other. On November 27th, 1926, the game was held in Chicago for the formal dedication of Soldier Field in honor of American servicemen who had fought in World War I. This is only, I believe, maybe the 6th or 7th time so 6 previous times the game has been held on campus of either academy. This is going to be the 7th time, and so the big thing with this is it's servicemen from the U.S. Army and then the U.S. Navy playing each other, and after the game is over, whoever lost the game sings, they go to that end of the field and they sing the alma mater, and then whoever won goes to their end of the field and they sing their alma mater. So the big thing is sing second. The Army's hoping they can do that, and so am I.
Hey, it's going to be always a competitive game to watch.
Yeah.
So definitely stay tuned for that.
Yep.
Coach?
And my actual pace is going to be basketball, which is my favorite sport. I'm just kidding. No. Is back. Training camp officially rolled out today. And not, of course, without its fair time of drama. LeBron James, featured on a podcast recently, said that Kyrie Irving hurt his feelings by saying that, the quote that he said about now he doesn't feel Kyrie being needing to take the last shot now that he's finally with Kevin Durant. LeBron James, feelings hurt, sad emoji. Wah. Then also James Harden, finally showing today, which their training camp started on Saturday, but he was too busy partying with the little baby, whoever
he is,
he was partying in Vegas.
Shocking.
Had said that he was going to report to camp on Sunday. Whoops. Still was in Vegas, and then finally came to camp today. Allegedly, rumor is Houston has been in, per his request, trade talks with the 76ers. The two of them are very far off, but not to stop there, James Harden did say that he'd be willing to go to any contender. So very interesting to see there. And the New York Wildcats, as they're going to be dubbed pretty soon, the New York Knicks, the joke being that the Knicks are now basically ran by former and or associates of the Kentucky Wildcats, with having 5 players now from Kentucky.
So what you're saying is if they need a head coach, they can call John Calipari.
Allegedly, rumor has it they, that is a potential. But now they have 5 Wildcats, which is leading to the rumors of Devin Booker, and or Karl Anthony Towns eventually going to the Knicks. So obviously Devin Booker would have to only be by trade, considering that he signed that extension, that silly man. But Karl Anthony Towns, very available. So very interesting to see what that will lead to. But it will be a very fun basketball season. It kicks off December 23rd. So I'm sure next week we will be talking heavy basketball.
Oh, we are going full heavy basketball next week.
Heavy basketball.
So definitely stay tuned for that next week.
Yeah.
Because we have to talk about the Knicks' greatness and resurgence.
The Knicker Cats.
Yes.
Ooh.
The Nickel Cats.
Hashtag.
The Nickel Cat.
No, you can't say nickel.
Oh.
The Knickers. Nick Cats.
We'll come up with something. So
we got to come up with something.
We'll put it out to the ODPH Society. What was a good amalgam between New York Knicks and Kentucky Wildcats?
It can't be the Wild Icks.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
That just sounds weird. So that being said,
the Kentucky Knicks sounds great, though.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. There's some UFC action going on this weekend. I know that they had another fight card last week, and honestly, it was kind of a lackluster one.
Sure.
So nothing really to write home about. Martin Vieri defeated Jack Hermanson, which was kind of surprising in a decision. So a lot of movement happened in the middleweight, but like I said, nothing was really that big, and we knew that going into this week. So this weekend, I should say, was going to be the big prize that we wanted to talk about. UFC 256 is taking place on pay-per-view via ESPN Plus or wherever you find UFC cards at. And it actually is a decent card. It has some names on it, but I really just kind of want to deep dive into quick 3 fights. In the middleweight division, Jacare Souza is taking on Kevin Holland. Holland is pulling a Donald Cerrone. I want to say this is his 5th fight this year.
I will look it up.
So he is always a very good highlight to watch. He has done some great knockouts. I mean, I know he defeated our good friend Mr. Buckley and earlier this year, which if you haven't seen him fight and do the knockout herd around the world.
This will be Kevin Holland's 5th fight this year.
Yeah, so this is going to be a tough test for him. Obviously, if Jacare goes to the ground, I don't know how Holland is going to survive, but we're going to have to find out. In the co-main event, though, which I thought should have main evented, but I understand why it's not, Tony Ferguson is returning after the absolute annihilation he got from Justin Gaethje to take on one Charles Oliveira. So this fight should be very interesting on a couple different levels. If Ferguson wins, he's right back in that title contention since Khabib has retired and the belt is currently in flux of whatever the UFC wants to do with it. Charles Oliveira has put on a impressive win streak that is flown under the radar. Albeit, though, there is something that's scary about this fight, and that is Ferguson has called out if Oliveira does not make weight because it's a short-notice fight, that if he is 3 pounds overweight, he's not going to take this fight. So I fear this could happen. I'm hoping not, and in fact, I'm taking Oliveira in the upset, which I don't sleep on this kid. He's been putting in the work. He's been doing stuff a lot quietly, more so than people think, and if he gets Ferguson to the ground, it's going to be lights out. His jiu-jitsu game is no joke. Tony's got to win this one, otherwise it's a wrap. I'm sorry. Enough said there. And in your main event is your flyweight champion, Delvician Figueiredo, taking on Brandon Moreno, the number 1 contender. Moreno just fought Brandon Royval, your guy, coach.
Okay.
And it was a highly contested fight until Royval popped out his shoulder mid-fight.
Yeah, they talked about that on the card, the preview of the last Saturday night.
Right. So Moreno is getting his title shot. I know this card has been kind of juggled around a little bit, but honestly, I don't think anybody's coming near Figueiredo. Figueiredo is just on a different level. I'm hoping the UFC can work out something to get Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson back, because honestly, nobody in this flyweight division is really exciting me enough that I can see them being Figueiredo. Figueiredo is no joke. I know that he has to cut a lot of weight to get down this division, but he gets down there, he starts laying some hands. It's going to be a rough night. I think this one is going to be ended in the 3rd round TKO by Figueiredo. Will I be right? Will I be wrong? Well, you just have to tune in this weekend to find out and to be determined if we're going to be doing this on twitch.tv/607podcast. Rich has a prior engagement, so it is up to me if I want to do the road show or not.
Oh.
So maybe we'll do a fan vote and see. But there's got to be a couple other factors going on with that. So definitely stay tuned to OchoDuroParlayHour.com for more information on that, and we'll definitely be posting on our social media. But before we check out of here, it's Locks and Leaps time.
Mm-hmm.
The competition is getting fierce. So let's go into Week 14, Pad.
Yeah, I'm going to start with my lock. I'm looking at this one. This one's easy pickings for me. Christ almighty. Talked about it for a segment. Seattle playing at home against the Jets. Currently, Seattle 13.5-point favorites. The Jets are bad. They're real bad. I think the only reason they almost beat the Raiders is because I believe they were like 6-0 going into that game at home against the Raiders. I think Seattle's going to be able to win that one easily. And then looking at the Colts and Raiders game, currently Indianapolis is a 3-point favorite, but I think the Raiders are going to be able to pull it out.
You know what? I was looking at that one too, but I didn't go with that. But I fully agree with you. That's going to be a closer game than people think.
Mm-hmm.
Coach,
I'm going to be on the Seattle train as well. Just because there's no way that you get embarrassed at home like that, being the Seattle is a proud home team that plays well there. There's no way they lose back-to-back weeks. And I'm going to go with the Giants. I'm going to ride or die with my team. Right. This is a must-win game. They are 2.5-point dogs at home. This is an absolute must-win. They cannot let this game go down the stretch with Cleveland and Baltimore coming up next. That they cannot let this game slip up and get away from them. So they will hopefully win this game.
So for my lock, I'm going against one of my cardinal rules, and I'm taking division game.
Uh-oh.
I don't think Jacksonville has a chance against Tennessee. Tennessee is 7.5-point favorites.
Jacksonville does notoriously play them hard, though.
Yeah, I know. That's what worries me. So I think I'm going to forfeit a point, but I think they'll get the win because I think they're going to see a lot of Derrick Henry that day.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, the point spread with Seattle, it was too tempting, and I just could not take it. Like, I think the Seattle is going to win. If not, 2020, man. That's all I got to say about that. But for my leap, I am with Coach. I need to ride or die with my team. The Bills are only a 0.5 favorite, or underdog rather, 1.5-point favorite, or dog. I'm sorry, I keep saying favorite, but it's like astonishing me that they are that close to Pittsburgh. But I will take it in Sunday night, and probably the game of the week. Not because I'm saying it as a Bills fan, but this is gonna be a really fun one to watch. The other one I was actually eyeing was Baltimore and Cleveland because Baltimore is only a 0.5 favorite, and after the shellacking they put on Cleveland. It was tempting, but I couldn't go that route. So definitely taking the Bills. Time to circle those wagons if they're really contenders or pretenders. And I swear to God, if Kansas City does not annihilate Miami, I will completely rip Patrick Mahomes on this show next week. I'm serious. Like, I'm going to go completely bananas.
Oh, boy.
So for all that, you definitely have to stay tuned to OchoDuroParlayHour.com and social media for that. But where do you go to OchoDuroParlayHour.com for? You go for the music, such as the ones you hear on this show each and every week, like Brian Wolf from Fair City Fire. He's been doing a Patreon. He's been doing a lot of stuff in this pandemic era, so you definitely want to go support him. You definitely want to go check out Shout at the Robots, who also have a Patreon out. You want to go check out Second Suitor, who's dropping a music video this Friday, which will be fun. They just did a new merch store. And our good friend Tom Jolu, who's starting to do some T-shirts as well. So all those guys you can find at the music section at OchoDuroParlayHour.com. You can also head on over to the directory where you find friends of the show, organizational links supporting Black Lives Matter, and all the amazing pod groups where you're in via their Podchaser pages. So obviously, shout out to Alternate Reality Radio, shout out to Legion Independent Podcast, shout out to Pod Nation, shout out to the aPODalypse, and especially shout out to JVD and Evan. Crossover Collision is going on as the Pod Raid this week. They are huge supporters of the show. They talk every week about the ODPH. We cannot thank them enough for their support, so definitely head on over, download as much as you can from those guys. Give them 5 stars all over the place. You can find the lists on there as well under the aPODalypse, and you can also check out 607 Podcast and give a shout-out to our friends Rich Ron, Mike C, and hashtag Big Natty Cool, still on Twitter, Pad.
Oh, boy.
And he has not gotten kicked off because if you heard what's behind the paywall, you would understand why there'd be a little caution. So patreon.com/8122productions for more information on that. All of that and so much more can be found at OchoDuroParlayHour.com. That's all I got for this week. So for your coach, my coach, the coach, Coach Duffy.
Big Ten, do the right thing.
For the one and only Padawan J.
Go Army, sink Navy.
I'm your host, Ken M. Patrick Mahomes, I ain't playing. You need to smoke Miami this week. Thank you as always for listening to the ODPH podcast, better known as the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. See you next time.